This podcast is an audio adaptation from the original YouTube video. Please visit the Spooky Cabinet channel by clicking in the link in the description to watch the video, if you dare. For the fully immersive experience, I urge you to turn off the light, grab your headphones, and never look back.
What if I told you that real-life monsters once roamed the earth? Creatures so massive, so terrifying, they could crush, slash, and devour anything in their path. A 40-foot snake that could swallow crocodiles whole, a whale that hunted sharks, a dinosaur that ruled both land and water. Stick around, because today we're uncovering the top 10 scariest animals that ever existed. And trust me, you won't believe what takes the number 1 spot. Number 10? Megalania, a massive lizard. Megalania, scientifically known as Megalania prisca, is an ancient apex predator that once prowled the Australian wilderness, terrifying anything that crossed its path. This giant monitor lizard lived during the Pleistocene epoch, around 1.5 million years ago, and was far larger than any living reptile today. With estimates that it could grow up to 23 feet in length and weigh over 1,000 pounds, Megalania was not just big, it was a true titan of the ancient world. Imagine a creature with the power to stalk and ambush its prey with brutal efficiency. Megalania was a fearsome predator with long muscular limbs that allowed it to move quickly through the dense forest and grasslands of prehistoric Australia. Its large, curved claws were ideal for climbing trees, but they were also incredibly effective weapons, capable of slashing and disemboweling its prey. Its massive jaws were lined with sharp, serrated teeth that could easily tear through flesh and bone. One of the most terrifying aspects of Megalania was its venom. While modern-day Komodo dragons rely on bacteria-laden saliva to weaken and kill their prey over time, Megalania had evolved actual venom glands. This venom would have been potent enough to incapacitate or slow down prey, giving the lizard time to overpower and devour it. The venom would work slowly, weakening the victim so that even if it managed to escape initially, it would soon succumb to the poison. This combination of size, strength, speed, and venom made Megalania one of the most dangerous creatures to roam the earth during its time. It was the ultimate apex predator, with no natural predators to challenge it. Its diet likely consisted of large mammals, birds, and reptiles, including smaller dinosaurs and megafauna that shared its ecosystem. Despite its terrifying abilities, Megalania went extinct around 46,000 years ago. The exact reasons for its extinction are still debated, but climate change, the arrival of humans, and the extinction of large prey species are likely contributing factors. The megafauna that Megalania relied on for food were wiped out during the Pleistocene extinction event, and the lizard may have struggled to adapt to the changing environment. However, the mystery of Megalania doesn't end with its extinction. There are still some who believe that the giant lizard may not be entirely gone. In the remote, rugged regions of Australia, there are occasional reports of giant lizard sightings. These Megalania-like creatures are described as being much larger than any known living lizard, with some locals even claiming to have seen them in the wild. Could it be that the deep, unexplored corners of the Australian outback still hide remnants of this ancient reptile? While mainstream science generally dismisses these claims, the idea of Megalania surviving into modern times remains an intriguing one. If it were alive today, it would be one of the most terrifying predators in the world, lurking in the shadows of the outback, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The legend of Megalania serves as a reminder of how little we truly know about the Earth's ancient past, and how the wildest stories of monstrous creatures could hold a kernel of truth. The thought of encountering such a predator in the wild, with its venomous bite and crushing strength, is enough to make anyone reconsider taking a walk in the Australian wilderness. Number 9. Jacalopterus, the sea scorpion king. Imagine travelling back in time to the Devonian period, more than 400 million years ago. You find yourself standing at the edge of a prehistoric river, the waters glistening in the sunlight, teeming with life. But beneath the surface lurks a creature that could send shivers down anyone's spine. Jacalopterus, the ancient sea scorpion. This terrifying arthropod was one of the largest predators of its time, reaching an astounding 8 feet in length, making it more than just a giant bug. It was a killing machine of the ancient seas. When you think of scorpions today, you likely picture a small, somewhat intimidating insect with a venomous sting. But Jacalopterus was something entirely different. With pincers capable of crushing fish and its swift, powerful body built for predation, this massive creature was a force to be reckoned with. Imagine standing in the water, when suddenly you feel a bump against your leg. You look down, and there it is, a giant, menacing claw rising from the depths, ready to snap shut with lethal precision. Unlike modern scorpions, Jacalopterus wasn't just a slow-moving, nocturnal hunter. It was a highly specialized predator, built for speed and agility in the water. Its body was long and streamlined, designed for rapid movement through the murky, prehistoric rivers and lakes it called home. Its pincers weren't just for show. They were powerful enough to crush fish, amphibians, and even other arthropods. The sheer size of its claws could easily overpower smaller creatures, and in close combat, the pincers were perfectly adapted for grasping, holding, and delivering a fatal strike. One of the most impressive features of Jacalopterus was its vision. Unlike many ancient creatures that relied on basic sensory systems, this sea scorpion had highly developed eyes that gave it an incredible advantage in spotting prey, even in the low visibility of murky waters. It was a patient and opportunistic hunter, capable of lying in wait for hours or even days for the right moment to strike. Whether it was small fish, other aquatic arthropods, or even amphibians, Jacalopterus would go after anything that wandered into its hunting zone. Its size, speed, and specialized hunting tactics made Jacalopterus one of the dominant predators of its time. It wasn't just a scavenger. It was a highly effective predator, capable of taking down almost anything that ventured too close. With its sharp pincers and lethal hunting abilities, it ruled the river ecosystems, casting a shadow over the smaller, more defenseless creatures that lived there. Despite its formidable skills, Jacalopterus eventually met its end, along with many other ancient creatures, likely due to environmental changes or shifts in ecosystems that made its habitat less hospitable. Today, the legacy of this terrifying predator lives on in the fossil records, leaving behind the remains of its giant pincers and exoskeleton as a haunting reminder of how massive and terrifying life forms could be in the distant past. Some paleontologists speculate that the scorpions of today, though far smaller, still carry echoes of Jacalopterus in their biology. The size and ferocity of this ancient predator remind us how evolution once produced such monstrous creatures, and how life in the ancient world could be so much more deadly and unpredictable. In a way, the thought of encountering a creature like Jacalopterus today seems like the stuff of nightmares. The idea of facing off against a predator that could crush bones and overwhelm its prey in seconds is enough to make anyone reconsider their appreciation of water's calm surface. Just as we fear the deep oceans and their mysterious inhabitants today, Jacalopterus was the terrifying master of its domain, a predator with no equal. Number 8. Therizinosaurus, the nightmare. Therizinosaurus is often described as one of the most bizarre and intimidating dinosaurs to ever walk the earth. With its name meaning scythe lizard, it's easy to see why this towering creature might be compared to a nightmare villain like Freddy Krueger. While it may not have been a bloodthirsty carnivore, Therizinosaurus's claws were a different story. These massive appendages, measuring up to 3 feet long, roughly the size of a human arm, were so extraordinary that when they were first discovered, paleontologists weren't sure whether they belonged to a herbivore or a carnivore. The sheer size and shape of these claws suggest they were built not only for foraging, but possibly for defense or even combat. Standing over 10 feet tall, with a body built for a slow, lumbering gait, Therizinosaurus might not have appeared fast or agile at first glance, but its massive claws were an entirely different story. They weren't just long, they were curved and sharp, almost scythe-like in appearance, giving the dinosaur an unnerving, otherworldly look. These claws would have been capable of slicing through branches, tearing into tough vegetation, or, if necessary, defending itself against potential predators. Imagine stumbling upon this creature in the dense prehistoric jungles of what is now Mongolia, only to be confronted with claws so large they looked like they could easily tear through flesh or armor. While Therizinosaurus is believed to have primarily been a herbivore, feasting on plants and leaves, the intimidating size of its claws suggests that it wasn't a creature you'd want to provoke. Even though it wasn't a hunter in the traditional sense, the idea that such a creature could swipe at you with claws far longer than your own arms adds an element of fear that's hard to ignore. The strength behind those claws, along with their razor-sharp edges, would have made them formidable against anyone or anything that posed a threat. It's easy to imagine how a sudden swipe could disarm or incapacitate a predator, or even rip apart anything that got too close. Its appearance alone, with its bizarre build and gigantic claws, would have struck terror into any creature nearby. Picture yourself wandering through the dense foliage of the Cretaceous period when you hear a rustling sound, a sound that slowly grows louder. As you turn around, the enormous form of Therizinosaurus emerges from the trees, its long claws swaying with each lumbering step, its towering presence dwarfing the vegetation around it, and its strange, herbivorous gaze not calming your nerves but raising the question, could those claws have another, more dangerous purpose? This combination of intimidating weaponry and odd appearance makes Therizinosaurus one of the most unnerving creatures to encounter in the prehistoric world. The idea that it might not have been a direct threat unless provoked, yet possessed the power to easily fend off a predator, places it among the scariest dinosaurs, not for how it hunted, but for how it could defend itself and establish dominance. Even if it wasn't actively hunting or battling for survival, Therizinosaurus's claws were weapons that no one would want to mess with. And while it may not have been designed to hunt humans, as humans weren't around during the age of dinosaurs, imagining the sheer terror of seeing one of these creatures up close with those massive claws ready to swipe is enough to make anyone's blood run cold. In the end, Therizinosaurus serves as a reminder of how evolution can create bizarre, terrifying creatures that are built for survival in ways we can hardly fathom. The way its claws evolved to such a menacing size, even though it didn't hunt other creatures, speaks to the unpredictable nature of the prehistoric world. It's a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying creatures don't need to be predators. They just need to be armed. Number 7. Gigantopithecus, real-life King Kong. What if King Kong were real? In a way, it's not that far-fetched. Meet Gigantopithecus, the colossal primate that once roamed the forests of Asia around 100,000 years ago, larger than any ape or human ever to walk the earth. Standing up to 10 feet tall and weighing over 1,000 pounds, this ancient giant was an awe-inspiring, imposing creature. While Gigantopithecus was primarily herbivorous, feeding on plants and fruit, its sheer size and strength would have made it a force to be reckoned with in the wild, and its presence in ancient Asia likely instilled a deep sense of awe and maybe even fear in those who encountered it. Gigantopithecus wasn't just a big ape. It was an apex creature in its own right. Imagine encountering this beast in the dense forests of prehistoric Asia. It towered over even the tallest humans, its powerful limbs built for swinging from trees or walking on the ground, using its massive arms for balance and strength. It wasn't a small, dainty primate like the ones we see today. It was a creature of raw power, its muscles likely capable of ripping through thick branches or fending off predators with ease. Even though it mostly fed on vegetation, its intimidating size alone would have been enough to make anyone think twice before approaching it. Despite being a herbivore, Gigantopithecus had the ability to defend itself against just about anything that threatened it. Its massive jaw and teeth, built for crushing and grinding tough plant material, could easily deter any predators that came too close. But the real terror lay in its sheer presence. The kind of creature that, if encountered, could overwhelm anyone through brute force alone. What makes Gigantopithecus even more fascinating is its connection to modern legends. Some believe that the myth of Bigfoot or the Yeti could have been inspired by sightings of Gigantopithecus or similar, now extinct, primates. The regions where Gigantopithecus once lived overlap with areas known for Bigfoot and Yeti sightings, remote, rugged forests where giant, mysterious creatures are still reported by locals and adventurers. Imagine trekking through a dense, misty forest in Southeast Asia or the Himalayas, hearing the sound of large limbs brushing against the trees, or catching a fleeting glimpse of something huge in the distance. The thought of Gigantopithecus still lurking in the shadows, hiding from modern humans in the untouched corners of the earth, is chilling. Scientists speculate that certain isolated regions might still hide undiscovered creatures, giant primates, possibly relatives of Gigantopithecus, that have evaded modern detection. Could there still be giants out there, moving through the jungle undetected, just as Gigantopithecus once did? It's a haunting idea that a creature so massive, so powerful, could still be walking the earth, hidden from the eyes of the modern world. What would happen if one of these giants, perhaps one with the same primal strength and towering presence of Gigantopithecus, crossed paths with a lone hiker or an unsuspecting group of travelers? The connection between the real ancient Gigantopithecus and the myths of modern cryptids like Bigfoot lends an eerie mystery to the idea that there may still be places where the shadows hold the secrets of creatures from a time long past. The unknown, unexplored wilderness still holds its mysteries, and Gigantopithecus serves as a reminder of just how vast and frightening the natural world can be. The thought of such a creature surviving in the hidden corners of the world today, watching us from the trees, is enough to send a chill down anyone's spine. And in a world so full of undiscovered wonders, who knows what might still be out there, lurking, waiting, and perhaps even watching. Number 6. Titanoboa, super snake. Imagine walking through a dense jungle river, the air thick with humidity, the sounds of wildlife all around you. But as you wade deeper into the murky waters, you start to feel something is wrong. The water shifts beneath you, ripples spreading outward. Suddenly, from the depths, a massive, silent form emerges, Titanoboa, the largest snake to ever exist. Stretching up to 42 feet in length and weighing over 2,500 pounds, this prehistoric serpent wasn't just big, it was a living, breathing nightmare. The kind of predator that could swallow a crocodile whole, and with one constricting coil could end your life before you even had a chance to react. Unlike modern snakes that rely on venom or constriction to subdue their prey, Titanoboa didn't need toxins to get the job done. This titan of a serpent was all about raw strength. With a body as thick as a human torso and muscles capable of incredible power, Titanoboa used its immense size to squeeze with lethal force. It would coil around its prey, exerting pressure that would crush bones, puncture internal organs, or simply stop the heart of any creature unlucky enough to be caught in its grip. The force of its constriction would have been so immense that it could even kill large creatures like crocodiles, which were among its prey. In the jungles of South America 60 million years ago, Titanoboa ruled its watery domain. As the apex predator, it would silently stalk its environment, waiting for its next victim to stray too close to the riverbanks or venture into its swampy territory. Unlike the slithering, hissing snakes we're familiar with today, Titanoboa would have made no noise, relying on stealth and surprise to strike fear into the heart of any prey that dared enter its territory. It could glide silently through the water, its massive body moving with surprising speed, and then strike in a blur of muscle and scale, capturing prey in mere moments. The size of Titanoboa was mind-boggling. At 42 feet long, it was the equivalent of a school bus in length. To put it in perspective, the largest snakes we know today, like the reticulated python, can grow to lengths of around 30 feet. But they are dwarfed by Titanoboa. And it wasn't just its length that made Titanoboa so terrifying. It was also the sheer girth of its body. With muscles strong enough to crush bones, Titanoboa could easily overpower creatures much larger than itself, including crocodiles, turtles, and giant fish. The environment it inhabited also added to the danger. The warm, swampy jungles of ancient South America were dense with vegetation and muddy waters, providing the perfect cover for this ambush predator. Picture yourself walking along a river, unaware of the enormous snake that could be lurking beneath the water's surface, just waiting for you to make the wrong move. The sudden shift in the water would be your only warning before Titanoboa's massive body wrapped around you. With no venom to inject and no rattling tail to warn you, the last thing you'd feel would be the unbearable squeeze of a serpent that was far more powerful than anything you could imagine. What makes Titanoboa even more terrifying is that it wasn't just big for a snake. It was so large because of the climate it lived in. The Earth was much warmer 60 million years ago, which allowed reptiles to grow to extraordinary sizes. Titanoboa thrived in a world where temperatures were consistently high, enabling it to grow into the giant we now know it to be. In fact, some scientists believe that if Titanoboa were to exist today, it could struggle to survive, as modern-day climates don't support the massive growth required for such a creature. However, the fact that it existed in such a different world with vastly different environmental conditions shows just how unique and terrifying life once was. While Titanoboa has been extinct for millions of years, the sheer concept of a snake of that size and the kind of terror it could instill is enough to make anyone think twice before stepping into any murky, unknown waters. And although there's no evidence to suggest that such creatures still roam the earth today, one can't help but wonder, if Titanoboa existed in an age when giant reptiles thrived, what else might still be lurking in the deep, unexplored parts of the world? The idea that a creature like this could still exist, hidden in some forgotten part of the world, is enough to make your skin crawl. With no predators to challenge it and an abundance of prey to feast on, Titanoboa was the undisputed king of the ancient swamps. It was a creature built for pure, unrelenting terror, a predator whose very existence speaks to the raw power that nature can sometimes unleash. If it were alive today, no one would stand a chance against its overwhelming size and strength. Simply put, Titanoboa wasn't just the largest snake to ever live, it was a living terror. Number 5. Liopleurodon, the sea monster. Imagine this, you're swimming in the vast open ocean, surrounded by the deep blue of the water, when suddenly you sense something isn't right. The water feels colder, the ocean quieter. Before you can fully process it, a shadow moves beneath you, massive, sleek, and silent. It's Liopleurodon, the ultimate marine predator of the ancient seas, and it's gliding toward you, its sharp, deadly teeth poised to strike. This marine reptile, which lived around 160 million years ago during the Jurassic period, could grow up to a terrifying 30 feet in length, with a body built for stealth and power. Unlike the fast-paced, aggressive hunting methods of modern sharks, Liopleurodon was a master of patience. It relied not on speed but on precision, stalking its prey and using its excellent senses to track down marine creatures. With eyes adapted to the low light of deep waters and an acute sense of smell that could detect the faintest trace of blood or movement, Liopleurodon could patiently wait for the perfect moment to strike, launching itself from the depths with shocking speed. Its body was perfectly suited for the chase. 4 powerful flippers extended from its body, allowing it to navigate through the water with fluid grace and incredible maneuverability. While it wasn't built for endurance swimming over long distances like some modern marine creatures, Liopleurodon could move rapidly over short bursts, launching itself toward its prey with brutal efficiency. In the open ocean, its speed and agility made it an apex predator, one that could outpace nearly anything in the water. The most terrifying aspect of Liopleurodon, however, was its jaw. Filled with enormous, sharp teeth designed for crushing and tearing through the thickest defenses, its bite could easily defeat any marine animal unlucky enough to become its prey. Fossils suggest that Liopleurodon had a bite force that rivaled or exceeded that of any other known predator in the oceans, able to crush bones and rend through thick skin with ease. This wasn't just a predator that chased down its prey. It was a relentless force, capable of overpowering creatures that were far larger than it. Imagine what Liopleurodon might have hunted: massive fish, ancient sharks, and even smaller marine reptiles. It wasn't picky. If it was in its territory and could catch it, Liopleurodon would make its meal of it. And this wasn't just a creature that hunted when hungry. It was a predator capable of overwhelming its prey, attacking with such force that the ocean around it became a deadly trap. What made this predator even more fearsome was its adaptability. Unlike some of its more specialized contemporaries, Liopleurodon could thrive in a range of environments, from the shallow coastal waters to the deeper, darker regions of the ocean. This versatility made it one of the top predators in its habitat, an undisputed ruler of the seas that could stalk its prey wherever they tried to hide. If you found yourself in Liopleurodon's domain, there was no escaping its jaws. The ocean would become a prison, its movements as silent and predatory as the depths themselves. With no warning, it could be upon you in an instant, and once it had you in its grasp, there was no escape. Imagine swimming in those waters, knowing that something far more powerful than you lurked beneath, its every move calculated, its every strike devastating. While Liopleurodon is long extinct, its legacy as one of the ocean's most fearsome predators continues to fascinate paleontologists and horror enthusiasts alike. Its combination of speed, stealth, and raw power makes it one of the most terrifying creatures to ever swim in Earth's ancient seas. And even today, when you dive into the ocean's depths, you can't help but think, what if something like Liopleurodon still lurks, unseen, waiting for the next unwitting prey to come its way? The thought alone sends chills down the spine, imagining the vastness of the ocean, the eerie quiet beneath the waves, and the shadow that might just be closing in, ready to strike. Number 4. Spinosaurus, the river monster. Imagine this. You're walking along the riverbank, the sounds of nature all around you. You feel secure, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, suddenly, you spot something. A strange, sail-like structure rises above the waterline, cutting the surface like a silent sentinel. Before you can even process what you're seeing, the beast beneath the water launches itself from the depths, jaws snapping shut with terrifying precision, as if to say, "You've entered my domain." That's the power of Spinosaurus, a predator unlike any other in the age of dinosaurs. Spinosaurus was a true monster. Growing up to 50 feet long and weighing several tons, it outstripped even the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex in size. But what truly set Spinosaurus apart was its ability to rule both land and water, making it one of the most versatile and terrifying predators ever to have lived. While most dinosaurs were strictly terrestrial, Spinosaurus was a true aquatic hunter, uniquely adapted to chase down prey in the water as well as on land. The most striking feature of Spinosaurus was its massive sail, a feature that jutted out from its back like a giant fin. While scientists have debated the function of this sail, theories suggest that it could have been used for thermoregulation, to attract mates, or even as a way to help it navigate or intimidate other predators. But in a terrifying moment, the sight of that sail rising above the water could be your last, a warning that a massive predator was nearby and ready to strike. Its aquatic hunting style was revolutionary. Unlike other theropods that relied heavily on hunting land-based prey, Spinosaurus specialized in catching fish and other aquatic creatures, often stalking the waters of ancient rivers and lakes. With its long, crocodile-like snout and sharp, conical teeth, it was perfectly built to capture slippery fish. Its jaws, powerful and designed for gripping rather than tearing, were perfect for grabbing fish or even other smaller dinosaurs that wandered too close to the water. This means that if you happened to be near water, you'd have to worry about being hunted by a creature that could strike from below, waiting for the perfect moment to ambush. But Spinosaurus wasn't just a water-dwelling terror. It was more than capable of hunting on land as well. Its muscular build, long claws and sharp teeth made it a formidable threat to any creature unlucky enough to cross its path. While it was likely not as fast or agile on land as T-Rex, Spinosaurus made up for this with its power, its ability to surprise, and its sheer size. Imagine being a smaller dinosaur, thinking you're safe from a river predator, only for Spinosaurus to emerge from the water and chase you down on land. What made Spinosaurus even more terrifying was the unpredictability of its hunting methods. On land, it could hunt in the typical carnivorous style, using its claws and jaws to overpower prey. But in the water, it was a different beast altogether. Its elongated body, webbed feet, and paddle-like tail suggest it was an efficient swimmer, allowing it to chase down aquatic prey with deadly speed. This meant that Spinosaurus could stalk its prey in multiple environments, making it incredibly dangerous for anything that entered its territory. The fact that Spinosaurus was capable of thriving in both land and aquatic environments made it one of the most adaptable and frightening predators of its time. It could lie in wait under the water, concealed beneath the murky surface, only to rise with terrifying speed and power to snatch its prey. Or it could be quietly stalking along the riverbanks, waiting for a land-based victim to wander too close. If you were unfortunate enough to encounter Spinosaurus, your best hope was simply not to be in its territory. Whether you were on land or near water, escape would have been almost impossible. Its immense size and terrifying ability to strike from both land and water made it a true apex predator, one that dominated its ecosystem without competition. It's easy to imagine how the first humans, or even early hominins, would have been terrified of a creature like Spinosaurus. Its presence would have been both awe-inspiring and horrifying, a reminder of the terrifying power nature can wield. And while Spinosaurus has been gone for millions of years, its legacy as one of the most terrifying predators in history still looms large. The thought of a creature that could hunt in two environments, one that could surprise you in the water and on land, reminds us just how unstoppable nature can be when it creates a predator so perfectly adapted for terror. Number 3. Leviathan, the killer whale on steroids. Imagine the most fearsome predator of the ancient oceans, Megalodon, a shark of colossal size and terrifying power. Now picture a whale that could rival Megalodon in sheer strength, size, and aggression. That's Leviathan, a prehistoric whale that roamed the seas around 12 to 13 million years ago, and was arguably one of the deadliest marine creatures ever to have lived. At an astonishing 60 feet long, Leviathan was a true giant of the ancient seas. With a body that large, it wasn't just another marine mammal, it was a deadly apex predator, a force of nature capable of hunting and overpowering some of the largest marine creatures of its time. Its most fearsome feature? Its enormous, razor-sharp teeth. These teeth, some of which grew over a foot long, were larger than those of Megalodon, the very predator that would have been its competition. Designed for tearing through the thick flesh and bone of its prey, Leviathan had the jaws of a true oceanic terror, capable of delivering crushing bites with immense force. But what truly sets Leviathan apart was its role as an active hunter. While modern whales are often filter feeders, Leviathan wasn't content with scavenging or only feeding on smaller marine life. It hunted large prey, including other whales. Imagine the ancient oceans as a battlefield, where Leviathan stalked its massive prey with a predator's patience and precision, using its immense size and crushing bite to overpower even the most formidable marine creatures. And, unlike today's whales, which rely on sophisticated filtering systems to capture plankton, Leviathan was a predator in every sense, actively seeking out and killing large animals, including other cetaceans. It wasn't just an opportunistic feeder, it was a relentless, highly skilled hunter. One of its key strategies was its powerful, tooth-filled mouth. With teeth designed for slicing through flesh, Leviathan could inflict wounds so deep and forceful that escape would be impossible. Its prey could include not just smaller fish or marine creatures, but larger animals such as other whales. In a terrifying world where only the strongest survived, Leviathan was undoubtedly one of the most fearsome creatures in the ancient oceans. And then there's the rivalry with Megalodon. Picture the ancient seas where these two titans of the deep would have clashed. Leviathan with its massive, powerful bite, and Megalodon with its enormous, razor-sharp teeth. Both creatures were apex predators, ruling the oceans with ruthless efficiency. While they would have likely avoided each other in some circumstances, the idea of these two giants locking jaws is a chilling thought. Both animals, equipped with weapons of unimaginable power, would have fought for control of the seas. The outcome of these encounters would have been deadly for whichever predator failed to overpower the other. Leviathan's legacy is one of primal dominance in the oceans. Its sheer size, power, and hunting abilities made it one of the most formidable creatures to ever live. But imagine if Leviathan was still out there today, lurking in the depths of the ocean. The oceans remain vast and largely unexplored, with countless mysteries still waiting to be uncovered. Could a creature like Leviathan still be hiding in the deepest parts of the seas where the light never reaches? The idea that such an apex predator could still be out there, undiscovered and unknown, adds an eerie sense of mystery to the ancient oceans. In the modern era, when we think of the ocean's greatest predators, we typically think of sharks like the great white or even orcas. But the true terror of the ancient seas would have come from a predator far more massive, more powerful, and more deadly than any creature alive today. Leviathan was an oceanic monster in every sense, a reminder of just how ruthless nature can be when it creates a predator so uniquely suited for terror. If you ever find yourself out on the ocean, it's hard not to wonder what might still lurk beneath the waves, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Could a Leviathan still be out there, roaming the deep, silent and unseen, as the most terrifying of sea monsters? With so much of the ocean still unexplored, perhaps the legend of Leviathan is more than just a relic of the past. Maybe it's a legend that's still alive in the dark corners of the deep sea. Number 2. Megalodon, the ultimate shark. Megalodon, the colossal shark of the ancient seas, is the stuff of nightmares, a creature so powerful that even the largest marine animals were no match for it. Imagine a shark longer than a school bus, weighing up to 60 tons, with teeth over 7 inches long, capable of slicing through the toughest of prey with terrifying ease. This apex predator ruled the oceans for millions of years, from the Miocene to the Pliocene epochs, roughly 23 to 3.6 million years ago. During that time, Megalodon was the undisputed ruler of the deep, and no animal was safe from its massive jaws. The size of Megalodon alone would have been enough to strike fear into the hearts of anyone who dared enter its domain. With a length exceeding 50 feet, it dwarfed even the largest sharks alive today, like the great white. Its teeth, bigger than the length of your hand, were like serrated daggers, designed to shred through flesh and bone. Its jaws were not only massive in size, but packed with unbelievable strength. The bite force of Megalodon is estimated to have been about 40,000 pounds, roughly 10 times more powerful than that of a modern great white shark. To put it into perspective, a single bite from Megalodon could break through a small boat's hull or shatter the bones of a whale. But it wasn't just the size and strength that made Megalodon such a terrifying predator, it was its hunting strategy. This shark wasn't simply chasing down fish, it was hunting massive marine mammals like whales, dolphins, and even other sharks. The hunting grounds of Megalodon were vast, stretching from shallow coastal waters to the deep, open ocean. It would have been able to stealthily stalk prey before launching a surprise attack with incredible speed and precision. Once it had its target, it would use its powerful jaws to grab and immobilize the prey, delivering a fatal bite that would tear through flesh, bone, and cartilage. The sheer scale of Megalodon's power meant that no marine creature, no matter how large, was truly safe from its predatory reach. This included the massive whales that roamed the oceans during the Miocene and Pliocene. Evidence suggests that Megalodon specialized in taking down some of the largest whales of its time, using its formidable size and strength to overcome these massive creatures. Its teeth, sharp enough to pierce through thick hide, allowed it to rip through the flesh of its prey, while its size made it nearly impossible for any creature to outrun or outfight it. Despite its dominance in the seas, the Megalodon eventually met its downfall. Some theories suggest that climate change played a role in the shark's extinction. As the Earth's climate cooled, the oceans began to change, affecting the habitats and migration patterns of Megalodon's prey. Additionally, new predators, such as killer whales, were emerging, putting pressure on the food chain and competing for the same resources. With a shrinking food supply and the rise of faster, more adaptable predators, Megalodon slowly disappeared from the oceans, leaving behind a legacy of terror that would echo throughout history. Before we get to number 1, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss more content directly from the Spooky Cabinet. Plus, if you love listening to conspiracy theories, mind-blowing facts, and weird history on the go, every episode is also available as a podcast on Spotify and Amazon Music, so you can take these incredible stories with you anywhere. Now, let's proceed to the number 1 scariest animal that ever existed. Number 1. Tyrannosaurus rex, the predator of predators. And at number 1, we have the ultimate nightmare of the prehistoric world, Tyrannosaurus rex, or T-Rex for short. The undisputed predator of the dinosaurs, the T-Rex was a true apex predator, a massive killing machine that dominated its environment. With an astounding 40-foot length, 12-foot height, and a jaw that could crush bone with a force of over 8,000 pounds, the T-Rex was an unstoppable force of nature. This fearsome creature wasn't just large, it was engineered for one thing: hunting. Its strong, muscular legs allowed it to run up to 20 miles per hour, and its sharp, serrated teeth were designed to rip through flesh like a hot knife through butter. What made T-Rex even more terrifying was its heightened senses. Its vision was incredibly sharp, allowing it to spot prey from a distance. It was a hunter, not a scavenger, actively seeking out its next meal, and when it locked onto its target, there was no escape. Imagine walking through a dense prehistoric forest, hearing the ground shake with every step. You turn, T-Rex is there, its huge jaws snapping open, ready to devour whatever it can catch. With a roar so loud it could be heard for miles, the T-Rex wasn't just a predator, it was a living nightmare, hunting relentlessly and leaving nothing in its wake. Jurassic Park gave us one of the most iconic moments of terror with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Dr. Alan Grant's line, "The T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, he wants to hunt," perfectly encapsulates the predatory nature of this beast. The T-Rex became the face of the Jurassic Park franchise, solidifying its role as the ultimate predator in both ancient times and pop culture. The roaring, terrifying presence of this ancient monster continues to haunt audiences, and its appearance in the park has become one of the most memorable moments in film history. But what if this terrifying creature still roamed the earth today? Would it be able to survive in the modern world? Could there still be a place for such a beast in the remote, hidden corners of the earth, perhaps in the deepest jungles or isolated mountains? The thought of a creature like T-Rex, so fierce, so powerful, stalking the earth once again, is a chilling thought. Whether it was millions of years ago, or if it were somehow still alive today, there's no doubt that Tyrannosaurus rex would take the crown as the ultimate predator of all time. The T-Rex's reign was untouchable. Its very name strikes fear, and its legacy continues to haunt us to this day. From its ferocious hunting skills to its terrifying size, T-Rex was the epitome of what it meant to be a living nightmare, a true apex predator in every sense of the word. Which of these monsters would you never want to face? Let us know in the comments below, or tell us if you think there's an even scarier creature that should have made the list. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more Top 10.